He's on holiday.
That's about 3 times. Isn't it?
Oh, there you go, Anne. Yeah, it's a horrible thing. Right, so what do you want to do?
Record it, yeah.
Yeah, with Chris. Okay, welcome everyone to the Planning Environment Committee meeting for Wimborne Minster Town Council on today, 13th of August. I think about 130 days till Christmas. My name is Simon Wheeler. I'm the chairman of Planning Environment for Wimborne Minster Town Council. And before we start, can I make sure that everybody's got their phones switched to silent or off, and so we don't disrupt the meeting. We are expecting another councillor to come, so just by the door. I don't want to kind of just push you out your chair. Just
Get through that.
that's all right. Brilliant. Thank you. So yes, from that perspective, let's make sure all our switch to silent. What I propose to do is run through the agenda. It's relatively brisk tonight, so we can get to some participation from members of the public. And if you could just keep someone to bring them up, then that'd be delightful. Okay, so item 1 then. Apologies, absence.
Yep, we have Councillor Park, who is personal.
Okay. Declarations of interest in dispensations.
It will be cancelled.
It will be cancelled when he arrives. Okay, so we move on to item 3, public participation. So we've all seen the agenda. I understand there's some residents recognised from Birchhill Road. So shall we bring those back? Yeah. Oh, I've got glasses here.
It is, yeah. So item 10,
Yeah, so does anybody want to speak on that matter at this moment in time?
Depends which of the correspondences you.
right, okay, so there's 2. I presume, sorry, presumption, I presume you're going for 10 and 4. So if I may then, so initially, item 9, where's it going? Hold on.
There was one to do with the work that was happening that was close to the bad, which we had a response on. I don't know about you, but I wasn't exactly enamoured by the response.
No.
That came. It was almost like, don't worry.
Well, it was almost like, oh well, we've done it now. We won't go any further, but we will still use that pathway that they have cut right through the magistrates.
Yeah. So
even though they've got a licence, they're meant to keep 10 metres away. But they say, well, we want a pathway between one bit of the field and the other.
Yeah. Is there? Forgive me if I haven't seen it because there's a lot on there. But we on Wimborne News and Views on any of this? Because
no, it's more on save.
Because it strikes me we need to up the the passion behind this a little bit in the same way as we did with footpath. Clark, you got anything?
Yeah, so in regards to that one and the archaeological survey, wasn't it? And the glass and the mess they made.
It's all part and parcel of the original outline planning that they put in. And when obviously it was refused, I believe one of the things it was refused on is because they hadn't done a proper archaeological dig or survey, and they haven't done a proper ecological survey. So that's what they're doing now. But in doing it, they are digging up the field in all directions. And I mean, horrible destruction. The destruction.
But that field is unimproved grassland, which is a very rare, fast disappearing piece of grassland throughout the UK. Villagers can still plough way to the field. And they are disrupting protected species, the badgers, the slow burns.
Yeah. And there's a small wildlife. And NET seem to say, yeah, that's okay. But it isn't.
It's never been ploughed, that field.
No, I'm,
In all the generations that.
no, I'm 100% with you. Sorry.
So my understanding of that particular, I've got three things, including that one, with regards to Birchdale, is the Dorset Council and told us aware of the survey work in the area. In the process of contacting him. In addition to that, I received a email from a resident in that area. I'm a resident of Wimborne, live behind the land at Life Farm. Goes on, but following the new government's change in planning regulations, I heard that solid neighbourhood plan that's up to date is a good form of defence if applications are taken to court. Therefore, I would like to know, please, if a report will be produced. I responded to her, said, I'm presuming refers to the. If so, yes, you are correct. There's a developer with aspirations to develop the land. However, there is an active and robust strategy to resist this development plan to the town council and residents. The strategy is ongoing, and the town council will update the community when more information is known. Further to that, Lou educated me and said that I then emailed the lady again and said, I might add, please, that Dorset Council are the planning authority on all planning matters, and the town council are a statutory consultee. And in the first instance, you can refer your email to Dorset Council. And then I asked her to get back to me what DC said. Furthermore, again, same subject, on the subject of adverse possession. So the town clerk chased up Dorset Council, saying, I have a planning and environmental committee tonight, and I wondered if there was any progress or feedback I could provide my committee in relation to the adverse possession request. Dorset Council, the Innovations Parks business manager at its property, came back with, I'm going for all the possible contacts at DC at the moment, confirming if we have been maintaining the piece of land as the plan below. I've been given a name of one of the old East Dorset land maintenance team, and I've dropped a message to call me back. That's the latest of that.
So I've also written to Andy Todd.
Yeah.
And I've had a response. So he's going to get a chase from me, which will be less than pleasant. We're with you. None of us here and built on because it's the last piece of green space between here and
I
Colton.
mean, do we know, obviously the local Dorset plan's not out yet, but do we know anything about whether they were going to take out WMC6, which is the field, they were going to take it out of the scheme altogether? Do you know whether they're going to?
I don't know. But focusing on what we can do is it worth us getting our local MP involved?
Yeah.
Because what I'm seeing is the kind of swathes are being cut across the field. It's likely then that people start walking dogs along those swathes because it becomes easy. That's another thing to walk your dog, and that ruins it for wildlife even more. And then when people turn up to have a look at it, so there's nothing here.
Yeah, a few things that I've kind of thought of the last few days. One is we did originally talk to Dorset Wildlife Trust, who said that they couldn't do any protection without the agreement of the landholders. That's my memory of that, because I thought, well, it's what's happening with them cutting the swathes and messing around and doing a lot of pruning and stuff, is they're gradually reducing the ecological value of it. I don't know whether anybody's contacted Dorset Wildlife Trust again. I remember a situation down on Lye Road when there was a field down there that hadn't been worked for quite a few years, and then it was suddenly planked up. And I think that was contrary to regulations, but I'm sure Council Bartlett's in a position to perhaps just offer whether or not that's correct. But it did occur to me that what they might be doing, just as a possible, is that if they were doing that, it's a fait accompli in terms of the wildlife. It's obviously dissipating. So they've achieved goal number one. If they didn't build on it and they simply put a gate over the amenity space in the fence, because after all, at the moment it is their fence. So if they, let's say, just put a gate in the fence, which kind of invited people to walk around and have access, in 6 months' time, if we put the same issues on social media again,
there may not be quite as many concerned people because suddenly they've experienced 6 months of walking their dog in the field. So as far as the landowner is concerned, they've achieved 2 or 3 things. And then we're down to whether or not the development creates more traffic, and we're kind of looking at different arguments against it. But that was the immediate thought when I saw the aerial photographs of the swathes being cut through it.
I think it's our fault as well.
Yeah.
Idea in this archaeological dig, which is going to dig up.
Yeah.
And the ecological dig is all in favour of the developer, who then will think, right, I'll put in another plan and it will all be a bit smaller. And then the ecologists won't.
Yeah. It's a sort of achieving by the back door a little bit of lowering of the concern in the local community. That's what I thought. But I don't see a way around that, because if last time we talked to Dorset Wildlife Trust, they advised that it was down to the landowner. Unless there is some kind of protection that Dorset Wildlife Trust could have offered by giving it some sort of status. And I don't know, I seem to remember that the planning officer, Ms. Shimkins, had a contact to check whether or not she was, I think when you last mentioned something, that she was referring whether or not there was any protection available. But that's my kind of background thinking.
Can I just make a comment? I just wonder whether the developer is the landowner or whether the developer's just got an option.
Well, the developer is the person, in my view, who is concerned about the planning permission. But I think the two were hand in hand. Hierarchy of companies is how I read it. I may be wrong, but either way, the concern is what's happening really to the ecology.
So, way forwards then. I still need to get an answer from Andy Todd for the letter that's been sent to him. We have to think, I guess, around items such as local press potentially, to raise awareness of this and what's happening, so that it isn't all under the covers and outside, and tell people realise that suddenly there's a field that used to be there and really nice and now has been dug up and crashed.
Can I just add a point there about the press? I've been in touch with Marilyn Barber, who's, I think she's editor of Viewpoint now, and she is very interested, and she wants to come and see the site on Monday. So hopefully we will be able to arrange that.
And then it's trying to get our ward councillors to support us as well. I don't know if you can help with that, Councillor Barber.
I have been in touch quite a bit with Andy Todd, and he has actually spoken to Vicky Slade, and she's well behind this. And I said, would she like to come and have a site visit? I haven't heard back from her.
Because it is a visit to see the site really along the pictures, to understand what it is being proposed and why it's an issue to everybody who lives in Wimborne and Coal Hill.
It's also obviously still access. If either you or we manage to get our town, the green town, village green town, if we manage to get that, then obviously they can't come down our road.
But no, but they're still open to development, isn't it? They'll find another way in, won't they?
I don't know.
That's my fear, is that you may save your road, but then they find,
Where?
you buy a house on Live Road and then flatten it.
They can't. Because they can't get proper road in there.
That's the fortunate piece. So really is protecting that area then, isn't it?
The only way in is coming from our side.
Right.
Or Grindrose Lane, which is obviously a private one, adopted road and it's mechanism.
Okay. We should, this is one of the things that, I need to speak to Gary about. it's in our website and what we put out from these meetings. So we'll have a look our side as well. We can throw in, our concerns. Obviously, I need to check whether they're allowed to do that, but this is all public. We are supporting them, not building on that area. So it would probably have to go to the full council, which can be got on the 20th anyway. For that, it'd be nice to get something out and support this. Okay. Thank you very much. Whilst on public participation, then, Sam, you wanted to speak? What was it that you had?
The development for Jack Park, has 250 houses going on the.
Yeah.
Obviously, it kind of the rugby field, the rugby club, the new school, and the outlet, retail outlet.
Okay, so
There'd be a lot of folks on there now.
So the old folks home is the retail outlet. So yeah, that is a change in conditions that got through that we're not happy about, but it's there now. The first school is being built.
Where is that in that interest?
More or less next to the old people's home, from what I've seen driving down there yesterday. And the rugby pitches, that's on plan, and they've got big billboards up with what it looks like up there.
Now, is there a completion or sort of start date for the rugby field?
Not that I'm aware of.
There's a fair chance that could get developed in the end of the day.
Well,
That's
councillor,
the way things are going. Yeah.
councillor,
Same as these people here.
Okay.
You know, in a few months' time. Yeah, the houses that stay on where these two people are talking about.
yeah, councillor Bartlett.
Okay, so the retail site was originally on plan and a bit past. The developer went to appeal so that they could put a care home in there instead, and the inspectorate found in favour of the developer and went against the committee decision that was the council. So we lost that one. Land is set aside for a new school from Wyatt's. And in terms of the rugby, the movement of the rugby club, there is going to be a community sporting village, of which the rugby club will be the primary tenant, it's hoped, should they go along with it. The first instance is that they set out the playing pitches, the fields, and that's 2 years before you can set foot in it. So at the moment, as I understand it, those pitches are being established now, and there's conversations going on with Dorset Council officers, the developers, and the rugby club, with the view to starting shortly the new building. But it is down to be a community sport village, at the say that the rugby club will be the primary tenant.
Now, it took 52 weeks to build that new entrance into that housing estate. We all know that, sure. There's another entrance, there's two entrances going in now, further between that entrance and Brookside Farm.
There is another entrance there.
And Brookside Farm. Using Brookside Farm as an entrance.
As far as I understand it, that's construction traffic going up there to do some building, not only of properties but also of the school.
Yeah, Chair. So at the time it was a difficult conversation with two developers working at the same site, and one developer needed to cross the land with the other developer, and that developer wouldn't give them permission to do so. So another entrance had to be found in. Unfortunately, and I'm not aware of anything changing at present. There is only going to be one traffic light junction on there. Originally, it was down to two traffic light junctions, but it will only be the one. It's the situation.
There's a tapper.
Are you going to? So we finished with Court Tap Park, and then your concern was on the Tappers building.
Yeah.
Okay, I know that we've been pushing that as well. Thank you.
So this is coming from Councillor David Morgan, obviously Wimborne, Wimborne ward. I've extrapolated from another document. Basically, what it says, however, when I last inquired to planning some time ago about what was happening, I was told that the development company responsible for tappers had to finish work locally elsewhere before they could start on. I agree that now is the time to make further inquiries, which will now be done.
Excuse me, Councillor.
Okay, so I've been in touch with enforcement over this because I had concerns around it as well. Enforcement have told me that they've had no complaint, public or anyone, around the state of the Tappers building. I'm concerned about it. I would urge anyone to actually lodge an official Dorset Council But as I say, at the moment, they haven't received a complaint around it. I'm concerned about the state of the building and dilapidation of it. It isn't being protected to the elements getting into the building and causing more significant damage. And so for me, it does present a concern. And I can remember that the old police station on Poole Road, where much the same sort of course of action was done on that, where windows were beaten out. It was exposed to the elements, the building deteriorated to such a state, which was a fine Edwardian structure, but it ended up getting demolished and redeveloped. So I've got concern about it. So I would ask people to make a complaint about it if they're concerned. But at the moment, enforcement is saying they've received no complaints.
So we've had a couple of complaints into the office. Can we respond to them, asking them to put their complaint to DC? We can do that.
So I'm right in saying, I may be wrong, but I'm pretty certain I'm right. In October 22, the developer applied to Dorset Council for a variation order. Am I right in saying it's 2 years? After 2 years, more new plans have got to go in, or words to that effect?
I've got Councillor Roberts. I know you want to answer. So can be okay if Councillor Barr just answers that question?
Yeah, just briefly, I forget the actual dates, but they're not out of time yet.
No.
It was October the 2nd, I believe, 22, 23, 24, so it's not much longer.
It's not much longer now, but they're not. It's within 3 years, but they're not out of time yet. But you are, yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor.
I was just going to say, as a town council, surely we can put in a complaint about
I-
the whole building and the detrimental effect it's having on the town.
So one of the things that the clerk asked me to do was to consider this committee, if they so minded, that we write to the developers and ask them for a detailed timeline. Because at the moment, everybody's complaining about what it is, but we haven't asked them what their timeline is. So just an open letter to ask them what their timeline is, so that we can see what the response is. Are we happy to do so?
Yeah, well, Councillor Bartlett's just said that we need to write to DC, so surely as a town council, we ought to be doing that.
Well, yeah, but we're doing that. We are doing that, but we're not. But they're not developing that site. What we're going to do is just a letter to the developer and ask for their timeline. It's a legitimate thing to ask. That's what we were looking to do.
That's a proposal. I'll second it.
All those in favour?
To like to write a note.
Okay.
Sorry, Chairman, you know. So just for the clarity for the members of the public, as a Dorset councillor who is portfolio holder for planning, I can't
No.
take a vote within this council. So it saves me to actually speak within the statutory planning authority that is Dorset Council. Thank you.
So we're happy to send that. So we shall do so.
In regards to the decision notice, I think you were referring to is the 18th of November 2022. It's a 3-year life.
So
Another year to go.
25.
18th of November 2025.
So that's 3 years. So
Yeah,
you've
25.
got a year to do it.
Yeah. So we need to just get that. So what we'll do is we'll do that once we have the response back, we'll publish it. Was there anything else before I
I
move
think
on?
something passed, and I think in the next few weeks or months, there's going to be another large empty shop there, and on the other corner. That's fine, but just my personal way. Observation.
Have I missed any members of the public that wish to speak? You're welcome to wait, sit through the rest of the meeting if you wish. If not, then thank you for your participation, and I shall carry on. Okay, so item 4, minutes of the Planning and Environment Committee meeting on the 16th of July 2024. To verify the minutes of the previous meetings on 16th of July as a record, am I able to sign that? Those, please. Thank you. And the seconder, Councillor Roberts. All those in favour? It's going to be one of those meetings when we say short. It's how good it's been one last 10 years.
All going to change.
Well, it's due to change, yeah. More people, power to us. You want to-
It is.
Item 5, new planning applications. So I'll take these piece by piece, add in the order they're in there. So we have 25 West Street. So 25 West Street, there's been some activity. So this is to fell the Burnham to the ground. At the moment, there's no objection to it, as it's on their property. And I know with the Burnham, it's certain age, they can be subject to damage and rot and failure, and this one seems to be in that. And the reports will have no objection for that one. So that's duly noted. The next one is 19 St John's Hill, which is an extension and dropped curb. I'll just read you the summary from the comments so far. Object. We strongly object to the proposed work that necessitates the removal of the beech tree, which has previously been refused. Despite this refusal, work has commenced without the required approval. The applicant's commissioned tree report inaccurate claims that the tree lies outside the boundary of the conservation area based on incorrect mapping. Additionally, the applicant's argument that they can cut invading routes on their property is flawed, as the law clearly stipulates that no damage to the tree occur with a maximum permissible root diameter of 50. Our original objection stands as the removal of this tree will irrevocably damage the street scene and character of the area. Any comments? Okay, on those two, because I've forgot the first one. Object when you're close to one. The first one is a no objection. Second one is an objection. Councillor Richmond, Councillor Roberts, all those in favour? Carried.
Can I just ask something, Chairman? Years gone by, we always used to have the name of the applicant.
I believe you asked me that last time, didn't you? Yeah, so it's on there. It's on the link.
Yeah, but it's not on here, is it?
No, but it's on the link that you get. Just a summary.
I don't go on.
It's on the information you are passed.
Yeah, I mean, it may be, maybe super, I don't know, I don't know what code on GDPR names on our applications. Okay, so the next one is 54 East Borough, which is erect a rear single story 4-metre brick orangery extension with roof lantern, side carport utilising side access to place front porch and stone surround. I personally don't have an objection when looked at it, but I know there was some concern. Councillor Richmond.
Yeah, reading the documentation that went with it, there were 2 neighbour comments, and the one that I wrote the piece that I wrote before I saw the neighbour's comment on south of the property. I've been in a similar position in the past where somebody's wanted to erect an extension that obviously rises perhaps 2 metres above the fence height. Potentially that could give quite a loss of light. So my suggestion was that with that being maybe a site visit should be considered, or somebody perhaps ought to do an application to make an impact. One of the other residents commented on, and I don't think we can do very much about that, on it'd be a sad loss of the greenery that's already established.
So I know that the loss of light is a valid planning concern. So, but we are from a statutory perspective, we are to look at whether we as Wimborne Town Council object to it or not. So are we saying that we wish to not object but add our comments?
A concern.
A concern. So are you happy if I can pen along pretty much verbatim of what you've written on here?
Yeah, they should take into account the neighbour's comment, which makes the same point at the time, which we have the same concern.
Yeah, okay, I will draft that and put that on.
When's it? 23rd. Yeah, we've got a little bit of this on.
I will do it.
Yeah.
So it'll be along the lines of no objection. However, we note the neighbour's concern through loss of life, potential loss of life. We would recommend a site visit to ensure that the neighbour is not going to be inconvenienced. Would you like to propose?
Yeah.
I'll do it this time.
I'll take it.
Well, it's all those in favour. It won't last long. So the last one, 10 Wimborne Road.
Change of use to a dentist.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of need it, so I think that's a no objection. I'm happy to propose that.
I'll second that.
All those in favour? Carried. And then the last one, which is the change of use. Here's where I stand on this one. So I went into this in quite a bit of detail because we've had these before. So the words that I've used are object. The change of conditions does not clearly outline the need for the change, nor confirm native species will be used in the landscaping as previously agreed. The change to the pumping station is also not fully explained, so cannot be allowed to continue without explanation. Capacity of local infrastructure, i.e. public drainage or water systems, is an ongoing issue in this area. So without the detail, this application should be refused. The changes to conditions should be refused as design, appearance and materials are not clearly explained. Landscaping changes are not explained. Nature, conservation and biodiversity issues will be compromised and invasive species are used. So I took the direct items that Dorset Council have just pressed out in their changes for planning and used their exact words as a reason to object to it. Now, I'll be honest, I had a look at all of the diagrams and it made my head hurt. But they are, you would never be able to work out what they've changed or how they've changed it if you weren't completely immersed in this every single day for the last 5 years. So on that's the wording I propose to use, and we'll see what comes back.
Is it reasonable we, as a council, ask for a summary rather than simply quoting a particular condition?
I'll add,
Because there must be a planning officer who's aware of the implication of the change of condition. I mean, we get this time and time again, don't we? Unless we read 25 pages.
Yeah, I mean, I sent 7 changes to the landscaping. I looked at all of them. They all look pretty much the same. They're in minute writing. They use the Latin name of all the plants that they put in. Unless I'm Anne Roberts, I really I was googling some of them, and I still couldn't figure them out. It's poor, and unfortunately, the skeptic in me feels it may be orchestrated.
They haven't actually upped the dwellings, have they? All they've done is change the use of the areas.
Sorry?
They haven't actually upped the number of dwellings.
No, they haven't, which is
No, all they've done is
changes to
moving bits around.
Changes to pumping and landscaping. But that's not clear. Is there something else in here that we miss? That's my concern. And essentially, this keeps on happening. I don't want to miss stuff. I want things explained in a way that we can consume.
I think we have to be very careful with this business of the pumping station because they're right by the river, aren't they? And having had a lot of problems down around Old Road and things with sewage.
Well, they've already had problems.
Yeah. Yes, so, I think it does need a very good looking at.
Yeah, okay, so we're happy with that objection. I'll propose it as I wrote it. Somebody want a second? Councillor Richmond, all those in favour? Unanimous. Civic Society. Did you want to say anything?
No.
I'm ever so sorry, I didn't think.
Hi, John.
Hi, John.
It's taken over as from John Worth, so we keep things simple. It's 2 John.
2 John. Brilliant.
That's my first. just to get
Just absorb it. Yeah. We'll have
a normal representative would be Anthony.
Yeah.
He's been head deep in all the applications.
Super.
That's his all.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
No,
Incidentally, John looks after tree number 5 for us.
Oh, that's all right.
yes.
We like people that like trees. Okay, item 6, application responses submitted between meetings, which is appendix 2. Anybody got any comments on that? We'll review on. Item 7, to discuss the proposed reforms to the national planning policy framework and other changes to the planning system.
Wow. Thanks for that. What you've got as the appendix there is just the revised one, just managed to find that. I think encapsulates the key points, as they say. And obviously, on the email that you received, you received the whole shebang of the PDF.
So can I just jump in here? So we're normally pretty good with our responses. Moving forward, I want us to reference the NPPF on our responses, whether it be no objection. It is a policy and Dorset Council will recognise. So if we can use the same sort of language, I think we'll be listened to more. Unless anybody has any allergic reactions to that, I'll type this up on that. Now that I have the latest copy, I'll be using that as our reference point.
This is just to note, that's what it is, and this we'll discuss if you want.
Yeah, it's a useful document.
Yeah, and you'd say really that there's nothing really that's changed in those. We have had those lists in the past printed on the back of documentation, but it is a focus, and with those singling out 2 or 3 of those makes life easy. So yeah. I think the other issues is, whether or not the application of the NPPF relative to green belt and stuff like that isn't really part of that issue. That's the difference.
Good. Item 8, changes to planning scheme of delegation to note the process of determining which planning applications are referred to Dorset Council Planning Committee, appendix 4. Can you explain that one?
So in addition to the agenda, sent one and a further email on the same document responded regarding the material planning considerations and relating to the scheme of delegation, our scheme of delegation, and obviously what's discussed in that. So all I need is just again to formally note the information that was on that added document. That's the scheme delegation.
Yeah. So in terms of the changes, as I understood it, and Councillor Ballard, please tell me if I've got. So I've been just on what I've interpreted, but as I understand it, they're looking to ensure that where things are more material, that we have a louder say. Some of the things that may be further down the things, a small conservatory on the back of a house, they're trying to not have too much of that causing them as much admin as they've kind of got, because they're getting swamped in the application. So basically it's a proportionate uptick based on the materials of the application.
You can answer that. We hope.
Yeah.
It was trying to enable town parish councils to have more say in what comes to committee, rather than going to actually delegated officer response. But it's going to need a common sense approach. So what is in front of you, if it's not working for committees, will get tweaked again. As to how we deal with those plan applications. But provided the town parish councils come up with the material considerations that goes against the officer view, then it'll go before the chairman and the vice chairman of the committee to determine as to whether that comes before committee or not. And if they can't agree, the chairman's view will take precedent on that within the committee.
Yeah, I thought it was actually quite a good move. In the past, I've had concerns where we as a council have had concerns about how a particular development might change an area, might change the skyline, might do all sorts of things. And I felt a little bit of concern that the planning officer, I need to trust the planning officer to do the right thing in a way. And what this does, of course, is that if we've got the remotest concern, then it automatically engages the people that have been elected to represent the communities. So
Which it just means our responses, as we said earlier, need to be a lot more succinct and focus on the material objection rather than a whole load of emotion over the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes perfect sense to me. Any comments, any other comments? Okay, cool. Item 9, update in relation to the action from previous meetings, update on Cranbourne Road traffic management and residents' concerns.
So I've received some more emails about the general sort of state of speeds and driving considerations on the Cranbourne Road. And it was just discussed in between this meeting and the previous meeting that we need to arrange a meeting with Councillor David Morgan and wants to join, so we can get it formalised, go to full council, so that full council can make a decision that we need to create a meeting to talk about the general state there. Obviously, council has updated us and members of the public as have come through on the situation. I've got a response from a PC member from the Highway Development team to the original resident that emailed me. Obviously, when someone wants to discuss about highway matters on the website, they go there and it says refer to the town council. So we do it that way. Just for information, I'm not sure aware of it anyway, but that's just the accident data there. We know that it's a busy road anyway. So I've been asked. So basically, we need to agree for a meeting of all interested parties as a way forward on the ongoing concerns on the B3078 Cranbourne Road with regards to the speeds, lack of pedestrian crossing, pavement, and signage, all of which we've obviously been updated with over the last period of months. It's just to try and get things moving it. So to get the full answer.
So my view is there's a lot of segments of this time. So there's the crossing. There's two crossings in my mind. One is from one of the developments that you're going out at Wimborne on the left hand side, crossing over to Kirkstall, a crossing there, so a crossing of some sort which might do something to draw the speed. There's the crossing phasing that is on the section 106 agreement that you're looking at the moment, aren't you?
You took Stone Lane.
Yeah.
That's a highway section 278 agreement, which was, as you say, was part of the 106 agreements. But as highways, it's a 278 agreement because it's a legal agreement. The developer can't get over it. They're just in the room at the moment with the Dorset Council deciding how many arms across that junction, which it will eventually materialise, hopefully this side of the next millennium.
So that's two items. Then you've got speed, and the speed is as you come round and up the hill and over the brow of the hill to the first turning into the new estate. There's a speed coming into town, but there's as you go over the bridge and the speed going out of town. There's a number of things. For me, the bit that is concerning me, having sat in the olive branch the other day and listened to a group of 18, 19-year-olds talk about how fast they get between Portland and Wimborne, there's going to be a tragedy if they really are going to speed that they say they're going on that. Right. So not something that's within our purview right here, but just anecdotal. So one of the things that I want to look at, because we have SIL money, and we've talked about things like crossings. Can we apply for? I'm kind of throwing this towards Councillor Bartlett without in pre-briefing, so I apologise. Feel free to back it back if you need to. Can we apply for matched funding and use a portion of that money and say, look, we can see that having a crossing on this Cranbourne Road at this position, where at the moment there's already an island, so we know that people cross there, there's a desire line there, safely gets children across to the first school and back, safely gets people from that estate crossing into town, potentially could make drivers throttle, may not, but potentially there would be a proportion of drivers that see it as a crossing thing. I need to be a bit careful as I go up and come back down. Is that something that is realistic to look at? What do you think?
Chairman, I mean, I know that there are pedestrian refuges within that road. I don't think they're adequate. I don't think they afford a safe route into school for children that are on the left-hand side of Cranbourne Road as you go out of Wimborne. They've got to get across to the school. The new Wimborne. Also, even if they're at the upper school, to then walk down to be on the right side of the pavement to get over Walford Bridge to go up Stone Lane. As we've already said, there's no pedestrian phasing on those lights. And my children used to follow the sixth formers out into the middle of the road till the car eventually stopped, basically playing chicken with the driver. And that's how I was horrified when they told me. And that's what they think. I was expecting to walk up St Margaret's here. It's more safer, but kids being kids, they don't do that, do they? So it has been a long, ongoing concern. What I would suggest, Chairman, is that the Town Council writes to John Andrews, portfolio holder for Highways and Transport, to do a site visit with officers, with the local ward members, with a view to addressing several of the issues that we got. So when those developments were done, the Section 106 agreement, unfortunately, under viability, that money only goes so far. Those developers had to provide those SANGs, which cost millions of pounds, because of the mitigation against Dorset Heathland. There was also there was various issues around that the school had been provided, and so the viability got whittled down further and further and further. And I think in an ideal world there would have been a greater look at I call it the road safety element along that Cranbourne Road, along that stretch of development. It didn't happen. You know, the money only goes so far, and they put in place what they thought was going to be adequate at the time, which was those pedestrian refuges. I think we can go back and look at it. I think you're already aware, Chairman, that I achieved a £5.5 million capital spend programme in the last administration and Conservative administration. That capital spend programme is a living document. That money can be taken out of it at any time. And I think we need to make use of part of that money. That money is set aside for other stuff that was within a project that involves all those asset transfers, which is why Wimborne Town Council hasn't been able to progress with those asset transfers, because they're all wrapped up in another project strategically that Dorset Council are looking at, and that's where that £5.5 million, a proportion of that is intended for. But there is sufficient headroom within that amount of money, I think, to look at some pedestrian crossings on Cranbourne Road and Julian's Road as well.
Julian's Road as well.
And I think we need to have that conversation, and probably the sooner we have it, the better, because of the finances within local government authorities, because £5.5 million sat there. We need to get on and start using it. It was allocated to Wimborne. Wimborne took on 50% of all the new build, as you know, in the local plan that was approved in 2014. So we've taken a huge amount of housing, and really we haven't got all of the infrastructure that we should have had out of that. And that was my reasoning for going for that capital spend programme that we managed to win for Wimborne, so that we can go back and tidy up some of the stuff that just wasn't under viability, the money to do in the first place. So I would recommend for you, Chairman, that we write to Councillor John Andrews and to Jack Wiltshire and to Matt Piles and request an urgent site visit with those officers, with the portfolio holder, and with the ward members and the Town Council.
Double site Cranbourne with Julian's Road then.
Yeah,
Julian makes sense while they're here to do.
Yeah, Julian's Road needs a pedestrian crossing on it as well. There would also have traffic down on Julian's Road.
So what I'll do, I'll work with the town clerk. We'll lay out all of the items that we want to cover on that day, but I'll also, in terms of our solutions with those two crossings, but the benefits as we see them, they can choose to knock them down based on their experience. But as we see them, you know, the slowing traffic the safety of things, blah, 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 blah. I'll
You want to copy me into that?
I'm not going to send it. I'm going to give the information to Kevin and let him send it, copy everybody in, if that's okay.
We need to go to full council to make that decision.
That's fine,
Yeah,
but it's all described here, then we get,
If you want me to see the structure of the letter before we send it.
that's right.
I was just going to say, we've got these mobile feed cameras, haven't we? In
The vans, you mean?
yeah, no, the ones you can put up.
SIDS.
SIDS, yeah.
Speed indicator devices. We
Yeah.
haven't, no. Around us have, for example, Pump Hill on
Yeah.
Victoria Road, and then there's one down on Lye Road.
Yeah,
which
well, that
actually
does
can't be-
what's
No,
on
no,
it,
they're available. There's that.
Community speed blocks are on Julian's Road tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
No.
that's just one road in the town, isn't it?
We're trying to-
People are concerned,
Yeah,
aren't they?
I'm having a bit of a battle with them and the police officer about trying to get them to spread the wings around Wimborne.
Around the town, yeah. Because we went out through Tarrant Caneston today and they were there with their little gun. They're very, very good in Tarrant Caneston. There's four of them out there. But, it's not only that, but we've got a speed camera on Victoria Road and it makes not one jot of difference.
It's data.
It just says your speed is.
Okay, so Richard.
Is it my memory, or am I correct in saying that when they did the assessment of the need for a crossing on Chubbuck Road, it only didn't match their criteria? 5.01 or something like that. So on a sunny day or a rainy day, that might have been a different figure.
It would, but what we're saying now is, okay, let's push
But I'm
it.
just saying that that is almost guaranteed, or one would imagine.
There's the route between Portland and Wimborne is being looked at anyway.
Yeah.
This isn't going to be wasted money, but crossing it. I mean, we've already had videos online, the lady trying to push a pram across Julian's Road and just no one would stop. So we know that there's an issue there. We also know that the development on the left has children in it that go to the school over a very busy road. It's incumbent upon us to send a letter detailing, trying to get a site visit and get, and then talk about finances, where that comes from. Can we use what's left of our SIL money to part fund it to help grease the wheels? So I think we should have that conversation. Okay. Cool. Moving on then, response from Dorset Council regards the proposal for enhanced tree protection and coverage strategy for Wimborne Minster.
So it's catch up. So this needs to be recommended to full council for approval as a new project. So
top level, what we try to do is say that as far as the canopy is concerned for Wimborne, we want to aim for an increase to the canopy in Wimborne. Part of that means to look at our existing canopy and protect it. And part of that is to look at proactive planting and where there is disease and a tree has been taken down, a number of trees being funded to replace as mature as we can get them with a support mechanism around those trees. That's the thrust of it. The other part of it was a little bit more straight, and we might be drawing this one out a little bit, was where we get planning applications to contravene and TPO because they've got a report from an arborist that says a tree is diseased. We feel that there should be an independent arborist that goes and reviews that, because there have been occasions where trees have been taken out and the person's view is suddenly the whole of Wimborne. They've been very happy with that tree that was diseased being gone, and the tree may have not been as diseased as first thought. So that bit needs a little bit more work, granted, but it's a proposal at the moment, and it's something that we want to quite like to do. So part of that involves measuring the canopy that we have today, and it's forming a strategy to increase that canopy. That's Richmond.
I was just thinking you remember I sent you a link to the data canopy for the whole of England, really, that you could zoom in on it. I wonder if there's, like there is on Google Earth, I wonder if there's a historic section of that, or we could actually check out prior to the development. Canopy now is perhaps 18%, 17, 18%, and we're aiming for 25%. We obviously lost an awful lot of canopy with all the developments, and that perhaps ought to be, if you like, ammunition to bolster, to back up our aim. To the lost trees that we have, we need to really protect the ones that we currently have. I did think that there were one or two issues that I can understand that Dorset Council came back and said not realistic. Provision of 5 trees, for instance, if I chopped a tree down in the middle of my lawn, it may not be feasible for me to put a wood back in its place on my lawn, but the principle is fine. I just, yeah,
It would
any way
take
that we can support our aims.
100%. So you had your proposal that we take this to.
Yeah.
I'll second it. All those in favour?
Councillor Roberts, so you've.
Thank you. Super duper. Okay, correspondence for consideration and or meetings relevant to the committee's terms of reference. Email from residents with regards a request for a pedestrian crossing. We've covered that one, I think.
Yeah, could I just, sorry, Chairman, could I just add that one, I should have remiss of me, I should have apologised for being late for the meeting. I had to take a call which threw my complete time to table out. But in regards to the present item that we're discussing, we need to put in that letter also the extreme concerns that you alluded to on Bluebell Crescent, approaching from Forest Hill to Bluebell Crescent Junction. The residents are extremely concerned about the speed of traffic approaching that, which is a blind. It is a blind junction to them. If they're travelling at speeds, they're on it before they know it. We have raised it with officers. They think they can mitigate part of it through signage, but it's something we need to put into the mix when we do the site visit.
Most of the resident correspondence I receive for Cranbourne are from Bluebell, so
yeah.
Starting to get pick ones up now from the what I call the western side, which has previously been quite quiet.
It's starting to fill up for the big site. Yeah. Okay. Inquiry from resident regarding Tappers building. We've talked about that earlier in the meeting, so we'll write and try and get a timeline on that. Correspondence from residents regarding Cuthberty Gardens and hazards with the road junction definition and road markings. This is I went down and had a look. I kind of get this. It's a bit.
I mean, quite the particular bit. Yeah. So obviously, normal sort of discussion about some resident of Cuthberty Gardens and the traffic. Partly down to obviously the development there, although she has no palms, which she says. But the detail here is, it says, I feel the junction needs some definition. So what we're talking about here is into Cuthberty. You can see it on the illustration there. Yeah, T junction, and it's that T junction she's referring to. So I feel the junction needs some definition, road markings, or some other form of insulation. Just down there. I'll have to get you to sign it. If you can pop by later on to sign it later on within the week. Take it. Oh, we should be finished. Oh yeah, right, thank you. You can sit down if you want. Some point, could this please be considered before a serious accident occurs? I know that other residents may have concerns. It's a long sort of email about it all, but that's the crux of it. You can see in the illustrations there are road markings. I mean, exactly what we do about it.
We've had this before, in terms of, there's no data to suggest that there's an issue there. Our ability to be able to get highways to go and look at that is next to negligible until someone complains. So there's a complaint, but there will need to be an awful lot more data. Yeah, there'll need to be an awful lot more data on there. I kind of get it, but the sorts of things that they'll look at is if parking's there and causes an issue in blind spots, and they'll look at putting double yellow lines.
Yeah.
Then you'll have residents that park there and suddenly don't have parking, who will turn up here and start saying we don't want double yellow lines there. It's going to be a tough one. This.
So is it,
Councillor Roberts, one point, sorry.
I can't quite see this at all because
Because you go into Captain
I know where it is,
Yeah,
but
that's
I see no problem whatsoever. Because the only thing that I think they could do is to delineate which is the major road and which is the side road. You know, if you've got one, the one at the back is the main road.
Side.
But you know, they don't seem to care about sidelines anyway, because they've got a hedge there, and they've got a hedge there, so you can't see up the road. A lot of it is down to what the residents have put in, to be quite honest. I don't quite see the problem, to be quite honest.
Sorry.
is it that the issue is that there isn't the dotted give way line across the
No,
junction?
there isn't, you know.
I think that's what she said should be there. What I believe and I've witnessed is cars driving and go left. They don't really, there's no stop, there's nothing to say.
So if there was the dotted give way line across the junction, then
You'd
people
be
would would drive as per the highway code.
Yeah.
What I would say is there's obviously a lot more traffic flow through that estate now than was ever envisaged, because now it is the access into the new Wyatt development. So I think, Chairman, I would suggest that we write to Mark Adams to say that we feel that dotted give way marking across that junction should be put in place because of the increase of traffic on that.
Which
on
is
that
reasonable. But not go double yellow lines at this stage, just go for a second.
Well, there is mostly double yellow lines around that estate anyway.
Okay, we'll do that. Great, thank you, Councillor Bartlett. Okay, last one, correspondence received from residents regarding Life Farm. We covered that as well. Okay. Item 11, date of next meeting, 10th of September. I will ask Councillor Richmond to step in on that one. I'm going to be away. I'll close the meeting. Yes, I read it tonight. Yeah. I mean, it's basically no mass. We've still got the
Online, DC, some people that's here doing that, which, you know, crossings and all sorts of stuff. None of which, I know we touched on the subject before, on the building, but I haven't heard anything official apart from the fact I go online.
You seem to
You're too.
Yeah, but,
Is there a reason why it's closed? Obviously, I should assume.
yeah, I can show you, there's,
It's traffic calming, but they're also British Gas up.
Yeah.
Gas main
So,
here.
so basically,
Correct.
what's that?
You go to the whole thing.
It goes all the way up, to, I can't remember the name of the road, but up north of, the whole road is closed. According to the, I can't remember what it's called, but online, I've only taken a little bit here. Online, it shows you it's right up north of that. Starts at Butts Hill, goes all the way up the hill, and then literally in a northerly direction.
They're actually-
It's a statement place.
They're working there, are they?
Oh, Dean's Grove, there you go. That's it. Between Allenview Road and Dean's Grove, that is the it's traffic calming, build outs, new pedestrian footways, surfacing and associated white lining.
Was that ever advertised anywhere?
No, well, it was advertised, yeah, it's online, but we didn't get it. I'd like to get it online as well, yeah, of course. It's probably signs, probably there.
We sent it out on social media and on our website.
Okay.
All right, thanks for your time.
No, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Did I show you that? You see that, yeah? So that's the cover of the machines.
interesting.
That's what I was saying.
Yes.
I said,
That's all.
I think we all want to have a copy
You
of that.
receive a, this,
Yeah, I see what
and look at all the dates.
Yeah,
When they're all getting handed over.
that was the 2.25 hours I spent with my life at the DCC meeting.
Which is
My meal, whatever his name is, spoke to Norm.
Don't take the first turning, take the second turning. And I think you'd be quite impressed at
Oh, he
that.
managed it, he did.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I was quite impressed that they,
On the left hand side.
on the left hand side, you go, second turn is not the first one. First one goes around the edge.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Second one